Kicking off a new month. Welcome to Rocktober. I want to acknowledge the beautiful altar over here. Thank you, Nancy Eisen, for that. And that is going to anchor us throughout the month as we talk about bountiful living. Yes. And today's specific topic is redefining prosperity. So the dictionary definition of prosperity is the state of being prosperous. Well, that doesn't tell us very much. So then I looked at prosperous. And the definition of prosperous is successful in material terms or flourishing financially. So we're going to kick off this exploration of bountiful living by redefining or really expanding this idea of prosperity to one of a more holistic experience. Because when we talk about prosperity and abundance, we may use words such as success and bounty, opulence, flourishing, feeling rich, lavish, in the flow, right? All of these wonderful words describe this experience of living life with an abundance mindset. So we're not just talking about money, but we're not talking about money either, right? So this is the fun little dance we get to say. Oh, and I also want to acknowledge these beautiful earrings that were gifted to me this week that are mother of pearl. So last week I talked about the pearl, right? And then someone gifted me these beautiful earrings. So just shout out to that person. This week we're talking about money. So next week... All right, so, money is part of the equation, and we know that money doesn't equal fulfillment in all areas of our life. I know, and I'm sure y'all know folks that may have wealth in the area of finances, but still experience a sense of lack or stress or unfulfillment in other areas of life, are not truly satisfied. You know, some people have an insatiable need for more. So they may have what appears to be more money than we can even imagine, but yet they're driven by also a sense of lack because they do not feel complete unless there is more and more and more, such that it is unattainable and never really feel that sense of security and satisfaction, right? So again, that's not what we're talking about. But what we are talking about is actually getting in the flow of life, recognizing the abundance as the natural way of the universe, and appreciating all that we have and all that we are surrounded by. Noticing and honoring and being grateful for that which we do have, and then opens us up to that feeling of fulfillment, of appreciation, of feeling full in whatever that may feel like. So that satisfaction. And, you know, there are various aspects of our life. So our finances is one. We have creative expression, our career. We have relationships. We have our health. So we're really talking about the allness, the wholeness, the holistic way of experiencing abundance and prosperity. So when we redefine prosperity, you know, when I looked further into the Latin roots of this word, prosperity, it literally translates to according to hope, or to go forward hopefully. So going back to the root, prosperity isn't so much about a condition of having money, but more of a way of living in this kind of hopeful expectancy. So it's not about acquiring. It's a lifestyle, a particular way of thinking and living that is pulling us forward with hope. And speaking of hope, I want to get clear about when we use the word hope here, we're not talking about the wanting of something like, oh, I hope this will happen, or I hope so, from a place of wanting, which again is lack, because the literal definition of hope is to cherish a desire with anticipation, which comes from the Old English word hopian, referring to a positive expectation. So when we say hope, you can also think of the word expectation. So walking in the world in a way, knowing that the abundant flow of the universe, expecting, knowing, hoping as you're walking that you are always provided for. I get that image of, was it Snow White? You know, walking and then the birds, is that the right character? Coming, you know, and then like, do, just that way of like, through life and just noticing and surrounding by the beauty of the abundance of nature. So we get clear, I want to start by getting clear on what we're talking about when we talk about prosperity and when we use these words so that we can have kind of a collective definition to build upon. So in order to experience bountiful living and live a prosperous life, we are looking at these various areas in our life. And just like a wheel, a wagon wheel perhaps, has different spokes, and it needs all the spokes to keep moving forward, to continue to circulate, you can think of these different areas of your life as these different spokes of the whole. And they all need to be in full integrity for that flow to occur and the wheel to move with ease. For if one of the spokes is broken or bent, you'll move forward, but they'll be a little, right? It won't be as smooth. And so we are approaching this month from that perspective, knowing that prosperity includes joy, freedom, peace, and ease. This is the type of prosperity that we are interested in and that we are speaking about here at Ahava. And it's not just obtaining material goods that may come at the expense of others. We are talking about the infinite, abundant nature of the universe that is experienced as the macrocosm, which is then experienced as the microcosm within our own lives. Because as I said before, we live in the universe and the universe lives in us. So what is true about the abundant nature of the universe is very much true about each of us individually as well. And what is true about nature is there's this symbiotic relationship in which everything depends on another thing in nature. And so is true for us. When we go about living life thinking that we have to pull ourselves up from the bootstraps and we have to go at it alone and just get our good no matter what, at the cost of no matter what, with that perspective, yes, we have seen examples of people achieving material good in that way. But is that really what we're interested in? No. We are looking and talking about experiencing prosperity in abundance such that all can flourish. You know, the big vision here at Centers for Spiritual Living is a world that works for everyone. So we know that we can experience the flow of abundance, and as we do, we can lift all others with us because we are inextricably bound. So redefining prosperity to be that of a holy experience based on the natural and spiritual laws of the universe, because we live in a reciprocal universe. We've all heard what goes around comes around, right? What we put out energetically in our thoughts and our minds and our feelings and our vibration, what we put out into the world creates a ripple effect, and it will come back. That is the nature of vibration, of the universe, of who we are. Circulation. So we get to choose to consciously participate in this natural order of things, in this never-ending flow of good in the universe, by consciously choosing thoughts of abundance, by recognizing the good that is all around us. Even in the smallest moments, the fact that we have an opportunity to breathe right now, that is abundance, right? How can we notice and look for and see all the good that we are surrounded by, even in moments we may be experiencing particular lack or limitation? We know that is not the capital T truth of our life. But yet, we can let that story take over and forget everything else, right? And think like, this one experience, and forget to see everything else. I don't know. I'm just demonstrating it, I guess, because that's what it feels like for me. I just kind of go like, and I forget to open my eyes and look around and remember, oh, look at all this abundance around me. And not just focus on the one experience of lack or doubt or whatever it may be. So this holy, holy experience of abundance. And again, I love looking at nature because nature is all that there is and it is who we are. But nature gives us such great examples. Mother Nature simultaneously gives and receives. The waves of the ocean, for example, right? The tides coming in and out. Our very breath in and out demonstrates this inward and this outward flow that is always occurring. And, when the tide pulls back, it may, if we were looking at it, not knowing the whole picture, we can think, oh no, the water's never coming back. Imagine you're a little grain of sand, and you're sitting there like, oh, I'm going to be dry forever. I'm going to just melt into the sun. I'm going to dry forever in this experience, right? But then what happens? The water comes back. Oh, never mind. I'm good. Oh, I'm going to be dry forever. I'm going to dry forever. Oh, never mind. I'm good. How many times does it take us that we have to go through life doing that to remember, oh, yeah, I'm going to be good. I'm taken care of, right? It flows. It flows. It flows. And our physical lives and our emotional lives and our relationships and our finances, right? We have to trust this balance of giving and receiving. I mean, right now, try inhaling without exhaling. You can't. Breathe. I mean, try to exhale without inhaling. You can't. It's not possible. We are naturally tuned to experience this ebb and flow of circulation. The abundance of good in our lives is experienced through this harmony of giving and receiving. And we're going to talk a lot more about this next week as we talk about giving and receiving. But, some people are wired more to be givers. And it can come just as naturally as our breath. Whereas others may have difficulty receiving or asking for what we need or want or desire or for support, but have no problem giving. And vice versa, right? Others may have an ease of asking and receiving, but then are out of balance with the giving. And these are two sides of the same coin. This flow, this balance. So, think of the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea in the Holy Land. It is filled with undrinkable water because of all the heavy minerals. Because the water comes in, but there's no flow. So the minerals just kind of sit there. And that's why you can float in it, because it's so dense. And what this shows us is the necessity of flow and our harmonious exchange, both in the physical and spiritual levels of life. The spiritual nature of life requires that we become an inlet and an outlet for divine good. So back in 1980, I was born, but I don't remember this happening. I was a big baby. There was a particularly rainy winter, so I've heard, and it reduced the salinity of the body of water in the Dead Sea by 5%. But this slight change, this 5% change, had a massive effect on the Dead Sea, and what occurred was a new type of algae began to form life, which turned the normally beautiful dark blue sea into a bright red. And this has happened several times since then as well. Most recently, I think even just a couple of years ago, whenever there is more inflow into the environment and this gets a little off balance, just a little bit more water comes in, this algae grows, and all of a sudden, it can be frightening to folks. That's why probably in biblical times they said the water turned to blood, because all of a sudden it looks red, right? And if we don't understand why, that's why. So the reason I bring this up, what's important to note is that just this little movement, this 5% more of this water created a massive effect. It changed something from blue to red, like boom. And so it's true in our lives. Just like the salinity level of the Dead Sea, when there's more flow, when there's more attention and intention to the flow of good in our lives, we will experience a shift, a massive growth of something that maybe was lying dormant within us until this point, when we nurture it, when we feed it, when we flow and open to the flow of Spirit in our lives as the good, as the source of the abundance of all that there is. So when we cooperate with these spiritual laws and we begin to learn how to think, not what to think, but how to think, we begin to open and attract prosperity in all areas of our lives. We don't have to try to manipulate things in the world of form or manipulate someone to get us, to give us what we need, nor do we have to beg or beseech some God out there to please bless us. No, we just have to recognize the natural order of life is abundance and begin to work with those shifts in our own mind to see the good that's all around, even in those moments of experiencing lack and limitation. How do we, and this is in all areas of our life, whether it be a relationship or creativity or prosperity or health, how do we experience a condition in the world of form, notice it, not deny it, but not give all our power to it, to see past the condition and know the truth and the wholeness, and then allow for whatever needs to be shifted in the world of form to be shifted by having an insight, a revelation, an aha of what I can do to shift and to experience and bring about something new. So to see the wholeness through the condition of lack. This is very nuanced. This is why we're having a whole month and a class afterwards to really get into how to do this work. So we're going to be looking this month, as I mentioned earlier, talking about these different areas, but we're looking at giving and receiving. We're going to dive into that more next week. We're going to be talking about forgiveness, about gratitude, and how to come into more balance with this idea of abundance to create and to see and to hold a vision of abundance for a world that works for everyone, not at the expense of others, but at the success of all. And this will then, like a natural byproduct of this, will allow us to be better stewards of all that we are surrounded by, including this beautiful planet that we live on. You know, many folks were raised in a religion that perhaps put less emphasis on our earthly experience, saying that it's just a temporal physical experience, but really we're going to get our good in the afterlife, right? It's all about that spiritual divine inheritance someday in some other plane of existence, but not right here. Sorry, y'all. I woke up this morning, I was like, my mouth decided it forgot how to make saliva today. I don't know. So what this has done by these, religious teachings is it has created a separation and had us, as a kind of collective, not value this experience, this physical body, and this planet, because we think it's temporary, something to kind of just get through in order to get to the afterlife. And it's led to such disregard for our earthly home, for the bounty and the beauty that nature surrounds us. It kind of gives permission to the mindset of greed and destruction in order to just create and produce more and more at the expense of Mother Earth, because what we only have right now, and it's all just about getting my good, right? That is the mindset that we are looking to shift by having, it's like that critical mass, right? So the more of us that begin to see and experience and value Mother Earth and honor the beauty and the bounty around us as sacred right here, right now, the more of us that can hold that truth, we will create a shift in the collective such that it is valued. But we're seeing a very out of balance, flipped version of that in our world right now by mostly those who have the money and the power and are making decisions at the expense of people and our planet. And I had a friend in high school that I've always been a big, environmentalist, and she did not believe in recycling because of her religious beliefs. Because she was like, oh, planet doesn't matter. And I still remember that, and I was just shocked. But I was just shocked. I'll just put it at that. Because that is very contrary to my beliefs and my value. So what we teach here is that Spirit is here and now, in all forms, in all lives, the seen and the unseen. And we honor and appreciate God's Spirit life in the big and the small, around us, within us. And this naturally leads us to remember that truly we are one life. And as we align with this nature of Spirit, we can coexist more harmoniously and beneficially with all expressions of life around us, lifting up and seeing and holding and desiring others to prosper as much as we desire that for ourselves. All boats rise. Last time I tried to say this, Adam reminded me. Rising tides lift all boats. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes. So we recognize that there is a spiritual law of circulation. And the key is to coexist harmoniously within this physical world of spirit, acting in accordance with these natural laws and spiritual laws of the universe, remembering that we are one. So we do this by seeking to experience a balanced life in all areas. So I want to conclude this morning by reflecting on a few spiritual laws that relate to prosperity. And this is where we're going to continue the conversation today at our class based on the Prosperous Life Journal. So even if you didn't sign up, you can still stick around today or join online. That's an option too. So I'm going to leave these as little seeds of thought to plant within your mind, to contemplate throughout the week. And if we could put them in the chat too, and we'll remind you throughout the week as well. So the first one, you can only attract what you are. The second one. You can only receive what you are first willing to give. And whatever you give out will return back to you. So let us take that now into prayer and contemplation. So we open to the flow right here, right now, by recognizing the pure, abundant nature of life, of source energy, of the universe, of God, as infinite, as abundance, as peace. Knowing that this universe is that which we live and move and experience life in, as, and through our very being. So therefore, I know that the abundance of the universe lives as me. That peace is here now. So I take this moment to recognize, to remember that we are one. To consciously intend to see the good that always surrounds us. To open to this flow of life, knowing that there is this nature of life that is ever giving of itself, and that we each are open to step into this flow of life of giving and receiving. Of aligning with this highest vibration of pure abundance, of walking in the world with this hopeful expectation, knowing that everything we desire is unfolding with ease. Step by step, we take a step and it appears. So grateful. So grateful to see and know the great bounty that Spirit, Life, Mother Earth herself has provided us, this beautiful gift that we as humans get to explore, create with. So I just take a minute now to recognize and know that any thoughts of lack or limitation, any old mindset of destruction or greed dissolves back to the nothingness from which it came. For that is not the true nature of life itself. That is a human condition that we here right now say is not the truth of our experience. So we are here right now to affirm the abundance, the life-givingness, the growth, the generosity, the bounty of Spirit itself in each of us, to raise up within ourselves to the mental equivalent of pure prosperity and abundance in all forms of our life. To see and to hold this truth for ourselves, for our community, for our loved ones, for our entire planet, for all beings. To thrive, not just survive, for there is more than enough. So I am so grateful to remember this truth this day. So grateful to recognize the abundance of the universe that is right here before me. to have eyes to see it, and the willingness to experience it, and to desire it for myself and others. How good it is to live this bountiful life, to share and to be in the flow of giving and receiving, always circulating the good, recognizing the good, giving, receiving, always. So with a grateful heart, I release this word into the action of the law, knowing it is done. And so it is. So it is.